Besides hair the color of radioactive jello, the quickest way to spot an anime protagonist is by looking at their name, which will almost inevitably consist of some kind of ham-fisted wordplay. For example, Sailor Moon's Earth name, Usagi Tsukino, has the character for moon in it. When read the Japanese way, which is surname first, it sounds like the Japanese term moon rabbit. Hopefully the moon part speaks for itself, but like a 5-year-old at a birthday magic show, you might be wondering, where the heck did that rabbit come from?
Are you watching closely?
The character's name is actually a reference to Japanese folklore, according to which rabbits live on the moon, where they make rice cakes, obviously. Now, rabbits don't really connect in any special way to Sailor Moon. It's a simple word association game with no deeper meaning.
Spider-Man! My name's the Human Spider.
Most anime shows keep things even simpler by giving their heroes names containing kanji that correspond to their powers or personalities, like in My Hero Academia, where a superhero called Eraserhead has the character for erase in his real name, or how a guy with a tail has the character for tail in his name, or how a frog girl has frog in her name. You get the picture. But while most anime pun names are just authors having a bit of fun here and there, Dragon Ball takes it to a whole new level by using wordplay for nearly every character or location name on the show. So let's take a look at the bonkers, the embarrassing, the unbelievable naming conventions that apparently came from the single most harrowing juice cleanse in history. We're talking a full vegetable plate full of thugs, an entire planet of snail men, and no less than 2 characters named after breast milk. This is CanonBall. Dragon Ball actually started out as a loose, comedic retelling of Journey to the West, a 16th century Chinese classic about a monk looking for sacred Buddhist texts. Over time, he's joined by a cast of fantastical characters, including the Monkey King Sun Wukong, whose name, when read the Japanese way, is pronounced Son Goku, which eagle-eyed Dragon Ball fans may recognize.
Fists clenched, eyes focused.
That's why, like Sun Wukong, the anime Goku has a monkey tail, rides clouds, and owns a magic extending stick. Now, I know we all secretly suspected it was a clumsy penis metaphor, but if it is, it's a 500-year-old dick joke from a book, which lends it a certain air of dignity.
That's enough music for now, lads.
Anyway, after getting the name Son Goku from Journey to the West, Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama decided that that's all the help he's willing to accept from the book, and so he boldly set out to come up with every other character name on his own. So he ostensibly opened up his fridge and started writing down everything except fetid box of baking soda.
Silent Breed is people!
As a result, the vast majority of Dragon Ball names are based on food. Just look at the Saiyans, the alien race that Goku belongs to. In Japanese, the monkey spacemen are actually called the Seiya people, with Seiya being an anagram of Yasai, meaning vegetables. Plus, according to Dragon Ball Super, they originally hail from planet Sadara, an anagram of the Japanese pronunciation of salad. So, despite looking like Greek gods chiseled out of blocks of ham, Goku, Vegeta, and every other Saiyan is essentially a vegetable man from planet Salad. As a result, all Saiyan monikers are vegan-friendly, like Goku's birth name, Kakarot, a play on the English carrot, or Raditz, the name of his brother, which, you'll never believe this, comes from radish.
Impossible!
Goku's father, Bardock, named after the burdock root vegetable. His mother, Jine, an anagram of Negi, meaning spring onion. Broly, that's broccoli, baby. Nappa, Vegeta's old partner, named after Nappa cabbage. This is also why Vegeta, a name that he shares with his father, the king, is a Saiyan prince and ruler of the vegetable people. Honestly, that's how politics everywhere should work. I'll be voting for America Ferrera in 2024.
Hi.
And this whole food naming convention extends to Goku's Earth family as well. Gohan, the name of both Goku's adoptive grandfather and later his son, comes from the Japanese word for cooked rice, or just meal. Gohan's daughter, Pan, is similarly carbo-loaded since her name comes from the Japanese word for bread. And as for Goku's wife, Chi-Chi, well, her name can mean breasts or milk, but given the whole food theme so far, it's probably the latter.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
I did try to confirm it by Googling Chi-Chi breasts ? But all I got was a stern talking to from HR. You can also find Dragon Ball characters whose business cards double as grocery store labels outside of the Sun bloodline. Goku's best friend, Krillin, named Kuririn in the original Japanese, got his name from Kuri, meaning chestnut.
Yowie! Chestnut!
Maybe that's why it's so fun and easy to make fun of him. Who doesn't enjoy a roasted chestnut? By the way, chestnut is also the meaning of his daughter's name, Marin, only in French. But it's not all just raw ingredients. Some Dragon Ball character names were also apparently lifted from old takeout that Toriyama had in his studio fridge, like with Tien Shinhan, named after Ten Shin Dan, which you may know as crab meat omelet over rice. Then there's his partner Chiatsu, named after Jiaozi, the Chinese name for pot stickers. And don't forget Yamcha, who got his name from Yumcha, which is a Cantonese-style dim sum brunch with tea. And of course the villainous Emperor Pilaf, named after pilaf rice. And his two henchmen, Shu and Mai, who, put together, make Shu Mai, a type of pork dumpling. To wash it all down, why not have a big tall glass of oolong? You know, the perverted shape-shifting pig named after Oolong Tea, who got the first on-screen Dragon Ball wish when he requested a pair of girls' panties. That is a real thing that happened on the show, and we should never stop talking about it. Some of the food puns on Dragon Ball got really creative though, especially with the Tower of Korin, where Goku trains for a while. The tower's occupant, a martial artist master and cat, is actually named Karen in Japan, which uses the suffix to for names of towers. That means the Tower of Korin in Japanese would be Karinto, which is also the name of a popular Japanese deep-fried snack made from flour, yeast, and brown sugar. Then there was Nata De Village in the Dragon Ball Z Broly movie, which, when combined with Coco, a girl who lived there, produced a reference to Nata De Coco, or chewy coconut jelly. But by the time we got to Dragon Ball Z, some of the wordplay started to get weird, like with Frieza's elite mercenaries, the Ginyu Force. Their name is a play on Gyunyu, meaning cow's milk, which is why every member of the squad is named after a dairy product.
This tastes like the cow got into an onion patch.
It's just a bit unsettling to have to fight a bunch of dude bros in tight tights with names based on things like butter, cream, and yogurt. Especially that last guy. His head looks like it should be pixelated. I would also never recommend picking a fight with Bonyu, a female member of the Ginyu squad introduced in the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot video game. Her name isn't even a play on anything, it's literally just breast milk.
I don't want to be Chesty LaRue or Busty St. Clair.
Still, at least the names of the original Ginyu gang were changed a little bit to make them sound less porny, like how the butter guy was named Birder, and how Yogurt Head was named Gerudo in Japanese. But some of the food pun names from this same story arc got downright lazy. There are actual Frieza goons in the anime named Cranberry, Raspberry, and Blueberry.
Would you like some tropical Skittles?
There's also another Cranberry guy named Cranbo, which could be a really good Australian nickname for a redhead, but is an incredibly lazy name for a bad guy in your anime fruit gang.
Wanna put it on the menu, like Outback does.
Now, all of that being said, not every name on Dragon Ball is snackable. Some are based on clothing, like Bulma, whose Japanese name is Baruma, which comes from the word bloomers, but in Japan refers to girls' gym shorts. You know, the thing she should have been wearing when she accidentally flashed Master Roshi, which is another real thing that happened on the show, but one we must never mention again because she was only 16 at the time.
This is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
Anyway, Bulma's entire family is named like that. Her father is Dr. Brief, her son is Trunks, her daughter Bulla's original name is Bura, which sounds just like the Japanese word for bra. And though Bulma's mom is never named on the show, according to Akira Toriyama, her name would be Panchi, as a play on panties.
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
But the second most popular source of pun names in Dragon Ball isn't underwear and lingerie, it's slugs. It all starts on the planet Namek, the name of which comes from the Japanese Namakuji, which translates to, you guessed it, slug. It's the home planet of Piccolo's race and explains why he and his people, with their green skin and head antennas, look like raw escargot. Speaking of, there are two Namekian characters whose names come from escargot, Eska and Cargo. Other sluggish Dragon Ball names include Katas and Mori, the two halves of the Japanese Katatsumori, meaning snail. There's also Dende, which comes from Dendenmushi, another Japanese word for snail. And lest we forget, nail, which is literally just almost snail.
Hello, my name is Mr. Snrub.
Somehow even lazier is Lord Slug. It kind of makes you wonder though, why the author of Dragon Ball decided to fill his comic with, well, a bunch of dad jokes.
Either we're getting soft or we're in the first stages of senility.
It might have made sense in the early days when Dragon Ball was definitely more focused on comedy. But as the series went on, it started taking itself a bit more seriously.
He took me from my father.
But the puns, the wordplay, and other joke names never stopped. One of Dragon Ball's most powerful and vicious villains is Beerus, a god of destruction from Dragon Ball Z: Battle of Gods, the first Dragon Ball movie that came out after a 17-year hiatus. That film's job was to get people excited about the franchise again, and it succeeded in large part thanks to a really kick-ass villain with a seemingly boring name. Akira Toriyama, who didn't actually create the character, initially thought it was based on beer, but apparently Beerus' name was inspired by the Japanese virusu, from the German pronunciation of virus. See, now we're thinking about the etymology of a murder cat god's name, instead of enjoying the action.
Aw, gee!
So again, why does Dragon Ball keep inserting jokes into their characters' names? Well, the answer is that they aren't always meant as jokes. Look, Japanese humor is like 90% puns, which, same as here in the US, everyone pretends to hate but secretly loves. But words that sound the same but mean different things are a big part of Japanese culture, even outside of comedy. Take the number 4, for example. One of the ways to say it, and there are several, but let's not get into that now, is she. That happens to also be a homophone for death in Japanese. That's why places like hotels will sometimes not have a 4th floor, much like some Western hotels skip the 13th floor.
13 Dead End Drive.
There's also the popular Japanese custom of placing figures of frogs in front of houses. Frog in Japanese is kaeru, which sounds just like a verb meaning to return home.
Frog ran up the path to Toad's house.
Making the frog figures like little buddies helping you stumble home after one too many beeruses. And there are still many Japanese people who eat pork cutlets for good luck, before a big test or some other challenge, because the Japanese word for cutlet is katsu, which sounds just like the verb to win.
Mummy Pig has won!
Hooray!
None of those things is meant to be humorous, which is sometimes the case with names in Dragon Ball. Most of them are jokes, but they're the result of a culture that finds a kind of power in wordplay, even if some of the later Dragon Ball names were really low effort.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cranberries.
Seriously, you introduce the first female member of the Milk Squad and you just call her Breast Milk? Which implies that all the other milk-based products are male? Congrats, you weirdo. You just gendered dairy. Thanks for watching this episode of CanonBall. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And while you're here, why don't you share a link to your elaborate manifesto on which foods are boys and which foods are girls?